This is a countdown video. It contains my own personal opinion on the subject matter. If you don't like my opinion, well, go make your own video for all I care.
Rivals are defined as a person or thing competing with another for the same objective or for superiority in the same field of activity. And anime is full of them. Whether they're frenemies or foils to each other's plans, rivals are an important part of any person's journey through life. So after watching a certain anime, and I'll point it out when I get to it, I've decided to list what is easily my favorite trope in anime. They're different and similar in many different ways. Here is my top 10 rivals in anime. Number 10. The Host Club and the Zuka Club, from Ouran High School Host Club. Whether they like to admit it or not, these two groups couldn't be any more similar. They are both over the top in their own ways, are admired and loved by the girls, and want to do everything in their power to make these girls happy and entertain them. Honestly, the only thing that is different about them is their gender. While the Host Club will flirt with the girls in the straight way, the Zuka Club on the other hand, well, as they put it...
And our pride comes from having meaningful relationships based on equality. Because we're the same sex. And yes, that includes relationships of love.
Yeah, you tell them, Benny.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say gay. The Host Club kinda still doesn't believe in the whole girl-on-girl flirting. Yeah, that still hasn't really aged well over time. The Zuka Club believes that all the lines that the Host Club feeds their customers are lies. Gender often brings opposition, even if it's to accomplish the same goal. And the Host Club and Zuka Clubs are two clubs that have a funny way of showing it.
And so a new rival, the Zuka Club, has appeared. From this point on, the story's gonna get even more exciting. What's gonna happen to our beloved Host Club boys next? Hang in there, Host Club! Don't give up, boys!
Number 9. Ichigo and Uryu, from Bleach. While a bit more frenemies than bitter rivals, these two are always at wits' ends with each other. They both make it their mission to exterminate all of the hollows that's bringing harm to the world. The difference with them is that when Ichigo defeats a hollow, its soul has a chance to go to the Soul Society. But when Uryu defeats a hollow, its soul is gone forever. And while I don't remember too much about the backstory of this is what caused the Soul Society to exterminate all of the Quincy in the world all those years ago. This is what brings opposition to Ichigo and Uryu, who are on other sides of the remnants of the war. This is actually a great setup to use in the final arc, when the remaining Quincy are the villains with Uryu on their side. This could be a great fight between two characters that analyze who they are and what they mean to each other, and they did not do that. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. Well, with what we have, it's a good rivalry in a series with characters that I still love. Number 8. Midoriya and Bakugo, from My Hero Academia. When there's a superhero anime, it's only natural for there to be rivals as well. Having been childhood friends in the beginning, after Bakugo got his fiery quirk and Midoriya learned that he is quirkless, Bakugo started to bully Midoriya, especially after Midoriya hurt Bakugo's pride by attempting to help him when he thought he was in trouble. As the series begins and Midoriya gets the One for All quirk from All Might, Bakugo is infuriated by the idea that Midoriya had a quirk that was stronger than his all this time. The fight between these two characters in the middle of the season is easily the best episode in the series so far. Midoriya and Bakugo both want to become heroes, but Bakugo wants to become the most powerful one due to his pride and fiery temper. Add in the fact that Midoriya looks up to Bakugo and wants to beat him fair and square one day, and you've got a rivalry that's sure to spark some inspiration with the other classmates.
Deku! Don't you ever forget what you are! You're a weakling!
Number 7. Vash and Wolfwood, from Trigun. In a Western-type anime, gunslinging rivals are inevitable. Vash and Wolfwood both want to protect the weak from people who might bring them harm. They are both good guys, protect those in need, and to maintain the peace. Vash does this by making sure that nobody dies in the process, always shouting his catchphrase,
After all now, this land is made of love and peace!
Wolfwood does this by killing the bad guys right away with no mercy. It's a classic case of pacifism versus pragmatism. One saves lives by not killing anyone in general, while the other takes out any perceived threats without hesitation, even if that ended up killing the wrong person. This brings the two of them at odds with each other when Vash tries to stop Wolfwood from killing someone, While Wolfwood finally learns that Vash's way might have been the right way in the end, their different views on maintaining the peace kept them constantly changing whether they were shooting at each other or teaming up to save the day. Number 6. Alucard and Alexander Anderson from Hellsing Ultimate. While most might not consider the two of them rivals, I say that it is due to the fact that Anderson is more of an anti-hero, which is in most of these rivalries. They both aim to exterminate the demons of this world as per the orders of their bosses. While Alucard follows the orders of Sir Integra Hellsing and does her bidding, Anderson follows the will of God in the Catholic Church. Since Alucard is a vampire, an unholy demon of the world, he is on Anderson's kill list. And since Anderson and his religious crew opposes Sir Integra, Alucard takes joy in fighting this foe. They are both good guys in their own ways, but their different views and actions cause them to fight each other. Even when Anderson decides to go against Maxwell due to his obsession with power over the will of God, he still rallies his people against Alucard and his army of the undead to the very end, becoming my favorite parts in this kick-ass OVA series.
You stand before me. I'm impressed. I'm impressed, Iscariot. Show me more, Alexander Anderson!
Number 5. Goku and Vegeta from the Dragon Ball Z franchise. One of the 3 legendary rivalries that you'll see on this list, Goku and Vegeta have been rivals since the beginning. Though Vegeta swore to destroy the Earth, when he helped the Z Fighters defeat Frieza and Cell, his continuous interaction caused him to gain a sort of liking to the planet Earth, resulting in him getting married to Bulma and having Trunks. Goku and Vegeta are always training and becoming stronger as every arc passes, and if one starts to become more powerful, the other one is not that far behind them. The two of them influence each other to become better and stronger, like a good rivalry should. When Goku learns that Vegeta started to train with Beerus and Whis, Goku quickly wanted to join him as to not fall far behind him. I think the best way that Dragon Ball Super should end is to have a final fight between Goku and Vegeta. Not to the death, but just to see who is the strongest once and for all. Only time will tell.
Let me make one thing clear. I didn't come here out of the goodness of my heart. I will help you because I want you alive, so I can have my shot at destroying you.
Number 4. Iwatobi and Zamazuka Swim Team from Free Eternal Summer. If there is one thing that sports anime always does right, is making there be no villains in the show. Sure, there are rival teams, but there are never quote-unquote villains. Each of them are playing a sport and they want their team to win, plain and simple. And since Free is the only sports anime that I've really seen, this is an example of it that I love. Iwatobi's group, consisting of Haru, Makoto, Nagisa, and Rei, and then Samazuka's group, consisting of Rin, Sosuke, Nidori, and Momo, are 2 swim teams who are very connected and are bonded more closely when they swim together in relays. I mentioned it before in a previous video about how this anime doesn't have a quote-unquote villain, just different people going through different and believable problems. Because of this, it's hard to know who to root for when both teams go against each other in the relay. You want both teams to win, but we all know that's impossible when it comes to competition. That's why I love this rivalry, because sports, and one more area that I will mention later, creates rivalries which brings more camaraderie in the individual teams. Watch this 10th episode of Eternal Summer and learn just exactly what I'm talking about.
これが俺たちのチームだ。最高のな。
ああ、それは俺たちも同じだ。
Number 3. Lelouch and Suzaku from Code Geass. Who doesn't love a bunch of hypocrites? Well, now everyone hates a bunch of hypocrites, but people seem to like these two. Lelouch and Suzaku were friends as kids, but then when all the shit happened, like Britannia invading Japan and Lelouch's mother being killed, they slowly drifted apart. They later met each other again at high school, except this time, Lelouch was leading a rebellion against Britannia, and Suzaku became a soldier of Britannia later at night, even though he isn't 11, aka Japanese. Lelouch's main goal is to get revenge on his father for the death of his mother, and the manipulation that he has to everyone that he rules over. However, with the guise of Zero and the power of Geass, he is literally doing the exact same thing. Switching to Suzaku, his plan to create equality between the Britannians and the 11s from the inside in the most peaceful way possible, even though he killed his father, which kinda started the whole thing, and is turning a blind eye to the torment that the 11s are going through, though he could do something about it if he tried. Friends to Enemies created a great final few episodes that I dare not spoil, but was a perfect ending to these 2 hypocritical characters and their rivalry.
ここから先のことはお前には関係ない。お前の存在が間違っていたんだ。 お前は世界から弾き出されたんだ。ナナリーは俺がシューズだ。
Number 2. Light, aka Kira, and L, from Death Note. Here it is, the greatest rivalry in the history of anime. But not my favorite, which I'll explain at number 1, but let's focus on these two for right now. Light is a young man who discovered the Death Note, which allowed him to kill anyone whose name he writes down. He dubbed himself the god of this world and was determined to cleanse the earth of all that he dubbed as evil. L is the greatest detective in the world. He is assigned to find out who Kira is, who is Light, and stop his killings. Both of these characters are very smart and are able to plan a million steps ahead in any situation. They are also outcasts in their own way, which L comments on, explaining that Light might be his first real friend. They both also want a form of justice. Light wants his own self-indulgent justice, killing all those who he sees fit. L wants justice to stop evil, and in this case, is Light. This rivalry causes the show to have the fanbase always split on who to root for throughout the course of the show. It's a legendary rivalry which will be known forever.
Kira, I will hunt you down wherever you're hiding and I will eliminate you. I am justice.
Number 1. Kosei, Aizawa, and Emi, from Your Line April. I grew up somewhat in competition. Between always being in the world of theater and being in a few singing competitions, I know firsthand what it's like to compete with rivals. It was after watching this anime that I decided to make this list. Much like with Free Eternal Summer, Your Line April has a rivalry where no one is the bad guy, just different people going through different things. Aizawa and Emi both decided to become great pianists because of Kosei. They look up to him, want to be him, and want him to acknowledge them. But at the same time, they really want to kick his ass and prove that they are better. Both Aizawa and Emi also hate Kosei for leaving the piano for 2 years, thus ending the rivalry that inspired the two of them to be better at what they do.
Return to me. Return to me the Kosei that set me upon this path. Let it ring. Every note, every chord, every measure. Let it ring. Let it ring. Let it ring!
Emi's Let It Ring performance is my favorite in an anime full of beautiful classical pieces. She, and Aizawa, are friendly with Kosei towards the end of the series, but they still wish to beat each other. And that's what a real-life rivalry is like. You admire the people that you compete with, but you hate them when they are better than you. But at the same time, that inspires you to do better. This show proves that the true nature of rivals is that they can frustrate you, influence you, and push you to new heights that you've only dreamed of achieving.
Let it ring. Let it ring. Let it ring! Let it ring.